Hey, are you okay? Looks like we lost you for a second. As you were saying, you are my therapy. When I say you are my therapy, I think of it as if you, the audience, are sitting in on my therapy session with myself. As if I'm in this center part of the couch, just looking at you and wondering and asking for you to listen. This YouTube channel, this video that you're watching, is just a reflection of my thoughts and my inner being at the time of me recording. And that's how every therapy session should be. It's an open and honest conversation that you have with another person or several other people to talk about your emotions and just your thoughts about certain subjects or topics that have been lingering on your mind. For me, I use this as a diary to kind of track my progress or my thoughts in an instance of time. This is my therapy session that you just stumbled upon. What I talk about could be several things. I've talked about a plethora of things on my channel when it comes to the relationship with my father, the narcissistic traits that I think I have, whether it's a conversation with a good friend of mine, could be anything. And that's what makes this so special. But I'm losing the plot. Let's talk about it. You are my therapy. I think therapy is so important. It's one of the few things that people go to, yet people don't understand how big of a thing it is. It's super important. We just got past Men's Mental Awareness Month, and I think the strides that the online community has made for mental health and therapy in general has been huge, but it's still an issue that people face on a day to day basis. And it's one thing that you have to live with forever. Your mind, your thoughts, the things that you're constantly thinking of, the things that are on your mind. People don't have a source to push it out. And that's what therapy is. And that's why I think it's so important to go to therapy and to even be in some sort of therapy. See, a lot of the reasons why people go to therapy is to talk about the big emotions or the big feelings that they have at times. But for me, I think my issue is the lack of emotions. For instance, my anger. My anger has basically depleted. I would say from maybe 7 years ago to up till now, my anger has just gone out the window. And it's something that I don't really express in myself. And you might ask yourself, well, isn't it good to be without anger or at least be in a deficit of it? Isn't that good? Maybe. But at the same time, that release is what helps you on a day to day basis to help you stay you. And my lack of that expense kind of aches at me sometimes. Instead of me feeling those big emotions of anger, I tend to feel very sad. And that's not very healthy because then I put a lot of emphasis on myself about the dilemmas that I have. Let me backtrack a little bit though. Long before you became my therapy, I always found a self therapy in myself of writing. I wrote poems, I wrote stories, I wrote things about my life, things that pertain to how I felt about my family, how I felt about the situations that I encountered throughout my life. I started when I was super young, like maybe I don't even remember the first poem that I ever made, but it was probably around middle school. And the real reason why I even started making poetry or being a artist of literature in any kind is because of my mom. My mom used to write poems, and I say famously, but not really famously. She wrote a poem about my sister. It's a very thought out poem that basically talks about how she wants her back in her life. That's a very rough, super duper rough condensed version, but That's why. Listening to her literature and funnily enough, my dad actually wrote a lot of poems and a lot of writings himself when it came to writing to people that he liked and of course to my mom as well. So I guess I kind of got best of both worlds in the sense of like that writing gene or poem gene or I don't even know what type of gene. Writing for me became a big part of me in high school. Whenever I had any issues, I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and it gave me a kind of clarity on what I thought and how I should move forward. And because I talk about my lack of emotions, sometimes it would extend my anger, sometimes my happiness, sometimes my sadness. I couldn't express it or I didn't feel it. But I knew what it should look like. I knew what type of situations I should be sad in. Thus, I created my own narratives in my poems and in my literature to help me understand why I wasn't feeling this, or help me understand how I should be feeling, how I should progress forward. Although you are my therapy, we all seek some type of therapy within each other. That's why we talk to our friends about how we're feeling about certain things or the new game that came out, the new show that came out. You want to know how other people's emotions are towards certain subjects or certain things. We all kind of do therapy to each other. It's kind of crazy to think about. Maybe we don't use that word per se, but in actuality, it is. And overall, my overall consensus, although I do write and I do journal now from time to time, I think everyone should seek some type of therapy. And I personally have never been to therapy, but I think if I ever did, then it would definitely be eye opening. But for now, you are my therapy. I put a big emphasis on how important I think therapy is. But why is that? Why do I keep saying how important it is? And now looking back on it, I think the reason why I say that is because I desperately needed it at some point. Whether it was with my self confidence in how I was not comfortable being myself, whether it was when it came to relationships, how to navigate other people's emotions when you've only been navigating your own for so long. Those things, those advice, those things that I talk about, those were things that I was stuck on, that I had no idea about. And I think that's why I put such a big emphasis. I think it's because I want you to use me as a vessel to maybe help you in your life. And if you get anything out of it, if any of my experiences, any of my, I guess, wisdom helps you, then I've succeeded. So, in the final stretch of this therapy session, I ask you, what is something that you want to see me talk about? And also, if you like what I'm doing, if you appreciate the time and effort put into these things, like, comment, subscribe. It means the absolute world to me. I don't think you understand. I be just geeking at the numbers and everything. It's crazy. My logical brain is just like computing like all these random things. It's so nice. And I really appreciate this support. I truly do. But like I said, thank you for being my therapy. And until next time, I'll catch you.